and welcome to Inspiring Communities. This is hosted by the Wairarapa Women's Centre and special thanks to ethnic communities for the funding. The Wairarapa Community Centre is holding their AGM on Wednesday the 14th of October at the Wairarapa Community Centre Conference Room at 7pm. We are needing new committee members, so if you're wanting board experience, personal development, about boards and a chance to support women in your community, then think about joining our committee. About 2-3 hours commitment per month. For more information, email myself on wairarapawoman@extra.co.nz. Morning Lisa, how are you this morning?
I'm really good, thank you. How are you?
Very good. I'd like to introduce you to Lisa Matthews. Lisa's our new lady within the councils here, and she is actually doing positive ageing coordination, so that's really fantastic. But Lisa, let's find out a bit about who's Lisa Matthews.
Okay, so as Kim has said, my name is Lisa Matthews. I am a new Wairarapian. I just moved to Carterton a year ago and I'm really enjoying my new life. I have a strong background in both working in local government and actually working in the community, which is why I've ended up in this role here today and why I'm here speaking with you.
Great, that's fantastic. So tell me some of the things, some of the projects that you've done in Wellington prior to coming over to the Wairarapa.
I used to work in not-for-profit management, so I used to manage the Wellington Community Law Centre, and a big shout out to my old colleagues in the Wairarapa Community Law Centre. I also used to manage the Wellington People Centre, which was an organisation that provided both services for people on low incomes and also did benefit advocacy, so did a lot of work around government and government policy. So that was some of my work in the community sector. I ended up working for Wellington City Council for a while in community engagement, and I've gone back to the Wellington City Council a couple of times to do some work, and also I've done some national and local community engagement around safe roads. So yeah, a
lot of knowledge tucked away there.
A bit of a checkered history, but basically all about people. Kim, I'm really all about people. So.
That's awesome. And of course the new job you've got is all about people, but it's about our ageing community.
Yes.
Which is really important to understand where we're at with them. So would you like to just give us a quick outline on the positive ageing, and then we'll go more into the goals later on.
Okay, sounds great. So in about 20 years' time, even a bit less, 1 in 4 of people living in Wairarapa will be over 65. We all talk about that kind of boomer wave, and it'll be particularly intensive for the Wairarapa because people are coming from, they're not only growing up and ageing in place here, but they're also actually retiring from other areas. So of course Wellingtonians coming to the Wairarapa to retire. So we're going to have quite a large population of people over 65, and local councils need to be ready for that explosion or that level of numbers of people. So they need to be ready for that. They need to be prepared for that, and they need to be engaging and supporting that.
Great, and it's good to see that they're looking at all areas in the community. So it's really great today to actually focus on the positive ageing. So we're going to go through different things, but we're just going to have a break at the moment because due to traffic Lisa got held up. So we're just going to take a break, and we're going to have Phil Collins, and it is going to be Another Day in Paradise.
blisters on the soles of her feet. She can't walk, but she's trying. Oh, think twice, 'cause it's another day for you and me in paradise. Oh, think twice, it's just another day for you and me in paradise. Just think about it. Oh Lord, is there nothing more anybody can do? Oh Lord, there must be something you can say. You can tell from the lines on her face. You can see that she's been there, probably been moved on from every place, 'cause she didn't fit in there. Oh, think twice, 'cause it's another day for you and me in paradise. Oh, think twice, it's just another day for you and me in paradise. Just think about it. Think about it. It's just another day for you and me in paradise. It's just another day for you and me in paradise. Paradise day for you. Just think about it. Paradise day for you. Just think about it. Paradise for you. Paradise.
Welcome back to Wairarapa Women's Centre, Inspiring Communities. We have actually got Cross Stitch back on Wednesday, the 14th of October at Tiafina Cameron Community House on the corner of Church and Stewart Crescent at 10 a.m. until midday. It's a chance to come along and either learn to do cross stitch or finish those own projects that you had sitting aside. I know I've got those projects piled up and it'd be good to do it. I'd also like to mention that during lockdown, these girls that are doing or ladies that are doing the cross stitch actually formed a group called Proud to Stitch, and during lockdown they kept in contact. They showed where they were up to in the progress, and it just goes to show on how our community is diverse and it also accepts change so well. Well done. I'd like to introduce you back into Lisa again from Carlton District Council, but you work between the three district councils, don't you, Lisa?
Yes, I'm here. My role is to implement the positive ageing strategy, which is a regional one. So that's across the three councils. So last year, probably the preceding year, a lot of work was done talking to older persons, talking to organisations that work with older persons, talking to councillors, talking to council staff around positive ageing and what positive ageing means to people, and what actually the councils can do to ensure that people can age in place positively. So as I said before, we're having a population that will be dominated by 1 in 4 will be over 65. So the councils got together and decided that it would be great to have a positive ageing strategy. So I do work across the three councils because the policy or the strategy is actually for the three councils. So here it is here. and you can find that online in any of the websites for the councils. So it was done across the 3 councils, and I work across the 3 councils. So I'm in Marston today, I'll be in Martinborough on Wednesday, and Carterton on Thursday. So I get around, and it's really around how to guide the work of councils over the next number of years to prepare ourselves for that population. And it's got some beautiful values or principles that underpin it, and I just wanted to share those with you, Kim. And one of them, which I particularly like, is around a positive narrative. Actually, the fact that we will have a population that has 1 in 4 over 65, that's a great thing. And let's build that beautifulness and position ourselves strongly to welcome those new Wairarapians that may be retiring here, and also to support our existing Wairarapians that are ageing in place. So really about that positive narrative, that it actually is not an issue, it's a beautiful thing to embrace. The other principle is actually building on what already exists, and that's what I've found in my journey over the last couple of months, because I've been in this job 10 weeks now, I think, Kim, and what I've found is actually that staff at the councils are already thinking and working around ways to support older people in place. So I'm speaking to staff who, even without a strategy, are factoring in the needs of older persons in their work. So building on what already exists within the councils and within the region. So that's really lovely. Another principle is actually ensuring equity. So making sure that people enjoy equitable outcomes. Some people aren't fortunate enough to own their own house, etc., have good health, etc. So how do we support them? And the other principle which underpins it is the one of cultural diversity. So embracing everyone, embracing our mana whenua for the area, and embracing also the new Wairarapians that may be coming, that are coming into the area, that are increasing our cultural diversity. So really cherishing that. So
I think they're really good values, aren't they? They're really values that have been stopped and thought about. So there was a steering group before this to get this going, wasn't there?
Yeah, so the steering group is representatives of the 3 councils. So just to make sure that it really does belong to each council, so that staff from each council are directly involved in making sure that this is a successful outcome for the whole of Wairarapa.
And that's great that it's right throughout the Wairarapa, that it's actually one service being done right the way through. So it's actually really good. So what other visions or values do you think that's really important to show up there?
Okay, so there's some goals. So dropping down out of those values that guide the strategy, it's driven by 6 goals. And I must actually mention that there's a national strategy, so this hasn't come out of nowhere. So and the goals that we have are quite similar to goals elsewhere. So the goal number 1, and I'll just jump to the page so I don't get it wrong. Kim, goal 1 is about ensuring that community and health services support older people's wellbeing. So that's actually about our community organisations, our medical organisations. So that's about all of us together collectively doing this work. And actually, how can the councils support these other organisations that are doing this work? So that's really, really key. And that could be as well, like through funding programs, through partnership programs. So there's real opportunities to work with the organisations that may be working directly with older people. So that's one of the goals. The other goal number 2 is communication and engagement. So make sure that we are reaching our older people. So obviously, not all our older people, not all people are online. So actually, making sure we have a range of different medium that we use to reach older people. So again, in making sure that the language that we use is one that makes people feel comfortable. So the communications part of it is really, really key, and I do know that Elisa at Carterton she talked about making sure we have wide communication. She talks about, having notice boards in public parks, having stories in papers, having the Facebook, having the online presence. But putting over lockdown, having posters in the supermarket and things like that. So making sure that we use different ways to reach our older people. Engagement, making sure that our older people can feed into council. So making sure that our older persons are not cut off from the decision-making processes. And I know that on Wednesday, the South Wairarapa District Council is having an engagement session with older persons around its long-term plan, and they've specifically set aside some time for older persons to come. I think that's in Greytown, and so making sure that there's opportunities for older people to have their voice in decision-making processes in council.
That's actually a really good opportunity. So that's in Greytown? When? That's
in Greytown between 1 and 3, and I could double-check in the next break. I'll double-check that, Kim, so we could come back and let people know. I've got it in my calendar. I think it's 1:30 to 3 o'clock, but I'll double check my calendar while we're on a break.
Really great.
Yeah, but making sure that all people, making sure older persons can get involved in the things of council, because of course the decisions that the councils make really affect us.
It does, and local government also are led by the main central government, and of course with them having their better later life.
Yes, it's a mouthful,
plan. It's a bit of a mouthful. I've got to say it slowly, otherwise I say it wrong. So the better later life is actually also a good one. So if you're in the library, please don't hesitate to ask them to look it up for you, because it is an interesting one. It covers so much, and this is where it's fed down into your plan as well, isn't it?
Absolutely. So that came out a couple of years ago. So we're very much in line with that, and that's a great document. And yes, please do ask for it to have a look at it. And it's actually probably more comprehensive because, of course, it's covering the whole of New Zealand. So.
Yeah, it is, and I was reading it the other day. We're just going to go to this for a couple of minutes, and it's got things in there like what is changing. The New Zealand population is changing, so they've got some statistical work there. You may not be able to see that, but it's actually about how the population's changing. So everybody's taking time to look at where we need to have things, and that's actually really good. And also too, within the cultures. And that is really, really important, because each culture needs to have their values, their morals all looked after as well. So, Lisa, tell me, the next one we've got coming up is transport, which in the Wairarapa is a big one, considering transport between all of the councils through the towns.
Absolutely, Kim. That was a big one. And, of course, some things the council doesn't deliver. So it doesn't deliver on transport, but what it can do in this area, and the goal, I'll just read the goal, I'll just jump back. The goal is transport options are safe, affordable and accessible for older people. In this goal, we are the influencers, so the councils can push Metlink and Greater Regional Council around the provision of bus services and making sure that they are a bit more connected. I understand that there was an uproar when the trains stopped being run at a time that people could use their gold card and get a free trip to Wellington. So not something that we directly deliver, but actually how can we influence the Greater Regional Council to look at the connectivity of the buses to the trains or amongst themselves, and of course getting to medical appointments and things like that are really, really important for people that may not have access to a vehicle. So these are critical things, but of course we can only influence in this one.
Exactly. No, in the better later life, I'm just looking up here, they're predicting that by 2034 it is estimated people aged 65 plus living alone will make up 55% of all people living alone. So that's quite big when they've got health issues and then trying to get food and trying to get to medical. That's a huge one, isn't it?
I think that's absolutely key, Kim. I mean, you're absolutely right. that how people are living in their older lives is changing, and we will have more people living alone. And of course, as women, if we're in a partnership with a man, then the man may die a lot earlier as well. So for women who last past their partner, then that's also an issue. I'm also in the transport area. Sorry, Kim, I should have talked about this first. Something that we can influence or we can affect as councils is footpaths, and I know this is a biggie for our older persons in terms of trip hazards, and what we've been doing is looking at where people gather, so where older persons gather, and making sure as a priority process to fix our footpaths, so around medical centres, around retirement homes. So I'm working with the managers of footpaths and pointing out to them where are key areas to, if there's any repairs being needed, that they are key areas. I've learnt too much about footpaths in the last month, Kim, and what I do know is that our budgets are very small for this work, and which is a really unfortunate thing. And the managers I've spoken to would like them to be larger, but budget constraints are a real issue there. But if you do have a footpath or a pavement that you are worried about, then please report it, because that does count. So please report any issues, because it really does count.
I see with so many of the elderly people that are on these scooters, there's quite deep areas that go down between the footpath and the road, and some of them feel like they're going to tip. So make sure we report those, because they could smooth those out a bit more. This is what this is about, is actually making sure that your trip home is safe, or your trip into town is safe, that you're able to get from point A to point B in a safe way.
And of course, Kim, those are called curb cuts, something else I've learnt. And they're important for mobility scooters, they're important for wheelchairs, they're important with people with prams, etc., etc. And that's a great thing about fixing footpaths, etc., that actually it's great for everyone. So, but complaints do count, so I do encourage you to complain. The other thing that is included in transport is cycleways as well. So, and I met with the person the other day who works with the 3 councils on cycleways. So, because of course we're not older persons are more and more active as well. So, having lovely and safe cycleways is really, really important. And looking at CBD planning, so Masterton is looking at their CBD area at the moment, and they have been working really hard to make sure that's age friendly. So that's great work.
Isn't that good?
Yeah.
So it's actually a good way to think about things, because even though transport there's so much to that transport. It's a lot more than just hop in your car and drive down, because as you get older, you end up with more things like a walker or a mobility scooter, or just being able to go outside your house and go for a 5 minutes or 30-minute walk is actually really important as well. Yeah,
keeping that exercise up is really, really key, and so making sure those journeys are safe and accessible is really, really important. So so there is work going on in that area, definitely, constrained only really by the budgets that the councils have for footpath repair, but please do keep complaining, because they do listen, they do tell me they listen. There's a rating process that does happen, and complaints are part of that process. Yeah.
That's great. Lisa, we're just going to go for another one. We've got Phil Collins this morning, Take Me Home. I think that's actually quite a good one after transport. Take me home safely. So here we go, Phil Collins. it's been really great listening to seeing what's going on with these 3 district councils with positive ageing. But first, before we go back to Lisa, check out our programs and support groups on our Facebook page. Some are really neat crafts, and 5D beads are coming up as well. So there's like night lights to hook rugs to quilling, which is an interesting one. So all projects have crossed to them, so check out our events page or email Vonnie on wairapawoman@gmail.com. Now, Lisa, we were talking about the long-term planning for South Wairarapa District Council, and during the break, Lisa did look up, but it is going to be in Greytown this Wednesday, 1:30 to 3:30, the 14th of October. We're not sure yet on where the venue is, so check out the Wairarapa Times Age. It has been advertised in there. Or give South Wairarapa District Council a call if you're really keen to go on 06 306 9611. That's also in the phone book. Or ltp@swdc.govt.nz if you want to email them to get more information about it. It's actually a really good chance for you guys to have your say, so take the opportunity. Lisa, we're going to move on now to the next goal, which is actually diversity. Yes. Our communities are getting more and more diverse every day, aren't they?
Absolutely, and I'm mindful, of course, that we're going to have some new arrivals in the next year or two of new refugees, so even more diverse. But this was really making sure and really talking about strengthening and embedding cultural diversity into our community, and that our community is proud of and inclusive of all cultures. So really widening our opportunity to see what that means. So actually the beautiful events that are held in the Wairarapa. I went to the Waifest for Waitangi Day in Masterton, and that was a beautiful event. So looking at how we expose our citizens of Wairarapa to different cultures through events, through conversations, and also looking at how we use te reo as a council, embedding that in our councils. So and also making sure that our kuia and our kaumātua are able to access the services that they need. So really putting some great value on that, and in particular looking at our maraes as well. So I think a really, really important one there, Kim, in terms of working with our different communities and also in particular our mana whenua to the area. So that's a lovely one. Coming up after that is housing, and of course this is a hot ticket item throughout New Zealand. Again, the council does some of the councils, do provide housing, and they specifically some of the housing is specifically for people that are receiving the pension. But also looking at how the housing in the area is developed. So we do have a lot of development that is going on in the Wairarapa, and that when the planning goes on, when the development of those happen, that we're asking those developers to consider the needs of older people in the housing stock. And also looking at the current housing stock that the councils have in terms of older people. So very important. And of course, as you have there, Kim, housing is a big one in the national document as well.
Exactly. The housing for the older people are currently more likely than any other group to own their own home. But this is dropping for those aged 50 to 64. For older people who do own their own homes, the numbers with mortgages are increasing. So realistically, they're working past that 65 as well, aren't they? So therefore, they're putting their mortgages past that stage as well. So in 2001, there was 74% had mortgages. It has dropped down to 68% in 2013, but they do say it's increased again. And then over the next page, I think this is actually really important. This one is These can be challenges of the New Zealand super, of the sole source of income, because they drop wages a lot of the time. Home ownership costs such as rates and insurance are also increasing and can be a major cost. There will be more older people renting in the future too, so that's going to put more demand on the renting stock market as well. So, they're saying here in 2004 there was 6.8 in the renting, and now there's 10.6, and in 2018 it got up to 13.9. So that's quite substantial when you look through our community.
Absolutely, Kim, and that's what we're seeing, is that those statistics are changing. The things that we used to take as for granted are no longer the same, and so making sure that we do look at housing, that we do consider what's going on in housing is really, really important. So and
it's also making sure that there's safety within the home as well. It's not just that they've got a home, but actually a safe home as well. So it's really important that they have a house it's not just a bath, there's a shower that they can get into as well, that the kitchens are accessible if they've got a little trolley or something like that they need support with. All that needs to be taken into account, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And I'm going to talk about what I've been up to soon, but looking at the accessibility of buildings is one of the activities that we need to look at. Of course, with any movement forward also comes a cost with it. So actually, how do we afford the upgrade to that housing stock that the councils own, etc., etc. So we do need to weigh that up, Kim, and that's a bit of an issue. So, but I'll talk more about that in a second. I just wanted to finish off our goals. The final goal 6, places, spaces and activities are safe, affordable and provide fun and enjoyable choices for older people. And so that's a lovely one. That's about looking at our parks, that's looking at our places of recreation, that's looking at our corridors, that's looking at seating, that's looking at signage, that's looking at all the ways that people experience recreation outside and in our recreation places, and looking to make them more and more accessible for older people, and also looking at the promotion of recreation opportunities for older people as well. And so making sure that we're supporting organisations like Age Concern and others that run recreation for older people. So
especially exercise classes, making sure that they're safe and able to attend. So therefore, just being able to do that, when you think about it, that covers a lot of your goals, because it's got transport to be able to get there, it's got places and spaces to be able to do it, and it's that community support and health services, isn't it? So when you start looking at this one, it brings all of them together, doesn't it?
Absolutely, Kim. And so what I wanted to touch base on is my direct work. So I have an implementation plan. So it's all very well to have a piece of paper, but we have to translate it into action. So that's what I'm here to do, Kim, is to take this document and translate it into action. So I have an implementation plan for each council. So I am looking at accessibility. I am looking at communications. I've just been talking to a lovely woman at Masterton District Council about their new website and making sure that's accessible. So I've got a whole range of jobs to do this year, Kim. But I guess it really is that balance between identifying a building that might be inaccessible, and then also actually how do we then as a council go on and afford to make that change. So this isn't going to happen. Some of those things aren't going to happen overnight, and that's why this is a strategy that we'll take forward over the next couple of years to work on. But there are some things that I hope to do this year. And I'm thinking also there's some great things that have already happened. The Howard Booth Park in Carterton, the pathways there are now 3 metres wide, and that's around making sure a person on a mobility scooter can pass somebody with a pram coming that other way, so that actually there's plenty of room for somebody on a mobility scooter to go on that pathway and not have to worry about being constrained for space. So that's something great it's happening. As I said, Marsden District Council is looking at their websites, and both Carterton and South Wairarapa are doing some work in that area. So there's a whole range of things that are already happening, and there's hopefully some more stuff coming up. And then just working out, and that's why it's really important that people get involved in the long-term plan, because that's about planning for the future, and some of those key budget things, like more money to footpaths. If you get in and say you want a larger budget for footpaths, then the council will have to listen to that. So
I think that's a really important one, because it covers, even though it's for positive ageing, it doesn't cover everybody, because from prams to kids on scooters, everything like that, I think is actually really, really an important one.
Well, that's absolutely right, Kim, and that's something called universal access. So if you make it right for, say, somebody on a wheelchair, you make it okay for somebody driving a pram. You don't drive a pram. Somebody pushing a pram. If you make it okay for somebody pushing a pram, then it's going to work for somebody in a wheelchair, on a mobility scooter, on a scooter, those scooters that kids use, etc., etc. So if we look at accessibility in that way, we are actually making it good for a number of different populations.
That's really good. So I'm just reading here, making it, this is for this, I'm going to get the tongue twister again, Better Later Life, and it's actually here, just lost it now, I've moved it. Accessibility is ability to engage with, use, participate in, and belong to the world around us. And I just love that sentence, belong to the world around us. Being able to access the world around us is so important for people's well-being.
And that's, I've worked with people with disabilities or with impairments previously, and they actually didn't say, they would say that they didn't have a disability. It's actually that the world around them created barriers. So they put the disability in place, and that's when somebody in a wheelchair can't cross the road safely, etc., etc. So it's actually not their disability that's the problem. It's the problem of the road, and it's the problem, the barrier that's been put in place that creates the disability, not them themselves. So
I like that.
Yeah, absolutely. So. And of course, our older persons, over 60% of them have a disability of some sort. So actually working both in disability and also with older, thinking about accessibility with older persons makes a lot of sense. So we use that word quite a lot when we're talking about older people, but actually it does have a greater impact, which is fantastic.
That's great. So, this has been really fantastic, and it's been great to hear what you've been doing. But where do they find the better later life, and where do they find the positive ageing? Okay.
So, of course, everything is online. For those of you who do go online, the positive ageing strategy is on each council's website. So, I'll just hold the picture up again. So that's available online on each council website. I do have some copies if somebody wants to probably ring the Carterton District Council and request a copy, or actually contact your local council and ask for a copy, and if they go what, then say find Lisa Matthews, and so I can send out copies. And of course Better Later Lives, which is such a great mouthful, that's also online, and that is put out through the Office for Seniors. So I'm wondering whether they have printed copies. I'm not sure about that.
I was able to go Better Later Life because it does mention it in the positive ageing. So I did a research and it came up. But to be honest, if you go into the libraries as well and say to them you want the Better Later Life, they'll look it up for you and they'll be able to print it off at a small cost as well. But otherwise, yeah, it is. I think this is actually really important to see that this is where it's come down to, and what it covers is amazing. to see where we're going to be in 2034, it sounds a long way away, but it's only 14 years.
Absolutely, Kim. It's it's around the corner. Yeah.
It's just around the corner. You know, they're looking at even net worth of people when they're going to be at different ages, and, you know, the superannuation and everything like that, they've taken that all into account. It's just a really good read. I found this because I've been in aged care before. It's been really quite good for me to read, because we've also got a lot of older people that come into the Women's Centre. So we have a lot of older women that we've got what we called our own. So it's our older woman network. It's a support group, and I'll make sure that there's copies sitting on the table for that as well. I'll make sure Bonnie's got the copies of those, so that if you want to, you can come into the older woman network and actually just sit down and read it. Just take the opportunity, no matter what opportunity, to read this, because this is actually affecting all of our lives.
Absolutely, and this is a kind of a universal movement, or international movement, because actually the Better Later Lives, it's such a mouthful, is based on the World Health Organization's work around older persons. So it isn't anything. We're not special. We are special, but it is also happening in other countries as well. So it is fantastic, and it's really great that you've made the link between our regional one and the national one, Kim. So I congratulate on you on doing lots of great homework.
I think it's a subject. It even covers things like volunteer work. You know, so when you give up work, you're not going to be sitting out and by yourself, that there is volunteer work. And I went to an Exalt conference that Marsden District Council paid for, actually, 2 years ago, and the biggest conversation was how to get people out of retirement villages back into volunteering again, because they go in and they've got everything set up within those areas. How do you get those people back out into the community and get them stay connected? So by doing this plan that you've got with the positive ageing, it brings in the transport, it brings in that community engagement, it brings those people back into the community again.
Absolutely, and I'm going back to that original, the values that we talked about, which is the positive narrative, because it's actually about those people, our people over 65, what strength, what energy, what creativity they have. And I'm looking here at your classes that you've got coming up around hook rugs and quilling, and I'm just thinking about all that knowledge that our older women do have around craft. And I do know there's been a really huge resurgence in knitting, and actually there's some lovely clubs around New Zealand that are about older women teaching generally younger women to knit, and I'm just really love that. And I love the fact that actually that those skills that older women have are being re-looked at and re-valued, and I think that idea of a positive narrative is really, really key, because it's not about your time is up. It's actually about your time is now, and what can we do, what can the councils do to have you ageing in place beautifully and wonderfully and supported. But also, actually, if the councils are able to do that, then actually what are you doing in what are you contributing? And I do know that our towns are practically run by older groups that are, I'm thinking of Keep Carterton Beautiful, and our shout out to that wonderful group who work so wonderfully with the Carterton's Parks and Gardens team to beautify Carterton, and I'm sure you have something similar here in Masterton. So actually the energy and the strength of our people, our retired people, is fantastic, and we already benefit from that exactly. Energy and creativity. So long may it last.
It is, and it's interesting because a lot of elderly, I'm just reading here that 20% of people aged 50 plus felt invisible because of their age, and yet worked within Friends of the Park up here at Queen Elizabeth Park, and the rejuvenation within the island, and the age difference. So from young 13-year-olds to people in their prime, I'll put it as, out helping each other plant plants. I think that was actually really something that was really fantastic in the community. And it's something that's never going to go away. It's always going to be in our community. So it's time to really stop and look, isn't it?
And I'm thinking when you're talking about the two different generations together, I'll just do a quick shout out to Joy for Generations, which is some work that's an beautiful organisation is doing, and they're about bringing the old and young together, because why do we look at them separately? Why do we socialise separately? And actually, so they do a lot of work around bringing generations together and bringing play groups together with people in old folks' homes, older persons' homes, and bringing those generations together, because why would we not? Yeah.
Exactly. So we're really proud to be in partnership with the older generation, Joy for Generations, with our Check for Chat. So I'm just going to give a quick plug for our Check for Chat. So Lisa and I actually met during lockdown on Zoom meetings every day for about 4 weeks, wasn't it, Lisa? So we were in the self-isolation support Wairarapa team, and it was a team that got thrown together during lockdown. So I was doing the Check for Chat. Lisa came in and she was really fantastic, happy to ring people up, talk to them, and get them connected, which was really the most important thing. Then from them, we've actually now got funding from the Ministry for Women to continue on that Check for Chat. So last week I was out seeing all the doctors throughout the Wairarapa and talking to them about how we can get people connected. And it was actually not about just that person that was receiving the call, but it was actually about what the well-being the person gets that's making that call as well. So it's a win-win for both. And Joy for Generations and Volunteer Wairarapa have come on board in partnership with us, with Be Collective. So we're looking at now getting that set up, because I think we're going to be in a generation that there could be a change with COVID for some time. So it's making sure that everybody feels connected. This one here where I read about 20% of people felt invisible. Don't be invisible. Put your hand up and say, I want a phone call. So you can contact me at the Wairarapa Women's Centre. And otherwise, you know where I am, because people seem to find me at home as well. So, yeah. Lisa, we're going to have to sign off for today. We could have talked for so much longer about this. This is actually something that I'm really passionate about, seeing that our elderly are looked after. And hopefully we'll have you back again in near future about what has actually been implemented.
Thank you very much, Kim. What a great opportunity to come and talk about the Regional Positive Ageing Strategy on behalf of the 3 councils. I really have thoroughly enjoyed talking with you, and of course, given that we were on Check and Chat together, we've done a lot of chatting together before. So it's just been really great to do it with you, and thank you for the opportunity to bring the Positive Ageing Strategy to the radio, and look forward to hearing from some people that have been listening. Thanks very much, Kim.
Excellent. Okay, everybody, have a really safe month. We're back again in another month's time. I forgot to look up November's, and I'm planning them behind the scenes to have a really special one for that. So well, take care, and remember, if you see a footpath that needs work, you give your district councils a call. Thank you. Take care. Bye.